What's up, Gear Mortals? Trey Xavier here. I'm here with Colin Scott from CSGuitars.
Hello there.
He's very smart.
Apparently.
And so I'm going to ask him some stupid questions to which he's going to give smart answers.
Hopefully.
And it won't be so much a back and forth discussion as a nice little lecture when I'm sitting 1 foot from him. So we're going to talk about the possibility. So you're a sort of scientific, academic, I don't want to say nerd, but
No, I wouldn't classify myself as a nerd, but
right.
yeah,
But you just used the word classify, so you kind of just...
Oh, well, exactly. I've got good language.
Condemned yourself.
Yeah, I've got a university degree, come on.
Yeah, I also have a university degree, but it's in music.
Yeah.
And I don't know any of the technical stuff when it comes to effects, like the real nitty-gritty stuff. I know how to dial in a sound that I like when I can turn the knobs,
Yeah.
but if I try to take the back off the pedal and look in it, I'm done.
You can't identify anything that's happening in there.
No idea.
Right.
So the question that I have that is a pressing question, because in 2017 it seems like everything has been done when it comes to effects, not just pedals, like effects, digital effects, plugins, just different ways that you can tweak the sound that's coming out of your instrument. And there's flanger, there's phaser, delay, reverb, fuzz, kind of like distortion, like
yes.
high gain, kind of crunch, whatever. And then there's the weirder ones we were talking about, ring modulator.
Just things that destroy the signal deliberately to make it not sound musical, but to give a strange effect.
Oh, and like a bit crusher.
Yes.
Okay, so at a certain point, somebody was using some kind of a digital effect, and it couldn't get a good bit rate, or they somehow managed to make the bit rate lower, and then this crazy thing happened, and they were like, oh, I want to do that on purpose now.
That's the thing about a lot of effects. Fuzz originally came out from that. It was like faulty preamps, old faulty preamps, and just clipped and fuzzed out. And I went, you know what, actually, that's not what we wanted, but that's kind of cool.
Can we get that off the board and into a pedal
Can we
form?
just build a broken system?
Yeah.
And that's where fuzz came from. And of course, there's the stories of people slashing the speaker cones with razor blades to try and generate the sound. Yeah. So a lot of the original effects came out of things going wrong. And then going, that's actually really cool. And that's been one method of frontier pushing. But until something goes wrong, how do you create
Right, how do you intentionally come up with a new idea? So the big question is, are there any frontiers left? Is there a secret hidden knob somewhere, a secret parameter that maybe I mean, of course there's no way to know until it's happened, but theoretically, could there be like a flanger 2.0? Is there another type left? A new category that's going to blow the doors off the whole thing?
That's a truly difficult one, because I think when it comes down to it, the new effects types, like flanger particularly, came about from development in technology, new technologies. Right. Because right back when very first stomp boxes were starting to come out, you had some fuzzies, you had some phasers, and it was very simple circuits with very simple components. And as the technology developed to get, timer chips on ICs, and you could actually time things and do time-related stuff, that's when you started to get flangers, because you could just take a phaser and add a time element to it because the technology was then available. There was no way to do it otherwise without like huge, big systems, probably full of valves and all sorts of nonsense stuff like that. So
they had had to get one of those clocks that uses the sun. What's that called? Sundial.
Yep.
to take the time of day and like.
Well, it's all these things. Once you've got some new technology, things really, really grow fast. We saw Industrial Revolution, all that sort of stuff. Like things plodded along at a certain rate, and then as soon as one little bit of technology comes in, you get a massive influx, and then you go, well, shit, where do we go from here?
Right.
Because you've done it all so quickly. And that's what's happened, I think, just recently, especially with digital effects becoming so much more accessible and so much smaller in their packages, that you can do a lot of stuff, and we're pushing boundaries at an incredible rate. So we've come to a point where we're going to stagnate, at least for a little while, until something really different changes. This is
maybe going to come out as a ignorant, stupid question, but I've been hearing about this quantum computing thing, that's supposed to blow the doors off of everything. They haven't quite figured out how it's going to work, but they know that it's a possibility. It's probably the next big step in terms of processing power.
We need to get to that stage because conventional computers are starting to plateau as well.
Yeah.
We're going as pretty much as far as we can go with condensing memory down to its, memory density on a chip. Like physically, it can't get any bigger. So there's got to be some drastic change in the way that we, do this. And quantum computing is a really cool way to do it because you've got so much scope.
So then I guess theoretically, what kind of effect do you think that would have on effects? Is there any effect right now that you feel is being held back by technological barrier like that?
We've really pushed hard with the technology, especially in things like reverbs and delays. Those have gone into the digital realm full fold. And you can do all sorts of crazy processing, get some crazy big reverbs with all sorts of other effects going on within them. So if we can get even more processing power out of those, who goodness knows how far we could push those style of effects. But the other effect I feel is limited by our digital technology at the moment is things like distortions. I think it's well established that distortions and fuzzies in created digitally don't really represent the analog sound so well. So perhaps with a quantum computing thing where you've got more processing power and we can do so much more with scope, perhaps there's a way we can do some sort of crazy distortion that sounds, processing so that it sounds so real that we can just ditch all our... I mean, the cool little tiny Vox amp that they've got here with the, new tube in it? It's the Valve technology, but it's this size.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've just taken that and just condensed that really far down and they're trying to keep it, take an analog element in there. That's a cool little development, but we're also trying to retain some of the classic analog system. Maybe we should just be giving up on analog, as contentious as that sounds.
And that's pretty contentious.
Yeah, and maybe we should move full fold into crazy digitized stuff. I mean, a lot of the world already has. A lot of our stuff that we do, recording, although there will be some people who's like, yeah, I still record onto tape decks.
Yeah.
But digital recording has pretty much taken over.
Yeah, it's basically replaced 95% of the old way.
Yeah.
It seems like for the most part that's for the better. I definitely think it is.
Convenience is a big thing about this as well. The more powerful your computers are and the more powerful processing that you can process into effects, the more convenient they'll be able to get and the smaller they'll be able to get.
Yeah.
Because you thought about some really cool stuff before, it'll be massive rack mount effects, but now you can get pedal-sized stuff with that kind of technology in it. So if you keep going smaller and smaller and smaller, you could have, I don't know, wearable stuff built into the guitars.
Right.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Get the whole Axe effects built right into your guitar.
Yeah, there's always these possibilities, and that it's creativity and necessity that will push it.
So I guess at this point, it seems like necessity has more to do with convenience than actually finding a new sound, like a really new sound. There's certain combinations of things that people have found that were like the magical sort of thing, like somebody decided to crank their plexi all the way up, and just dime the whole thing all the way across, and that was at the time was a brand new sound, and that became the thing that everybody wanted to do. Now we know how to do that. We know how to get that sound, and now it's like, well, do we really need something else? Like you were saying, crazy stuff like ring modulators, like bit crushers, like stuff that isn't necessarily really musical and not as usable. Like you're not gonna find that on the next Rihanna single, right? It doesn't have broad appeal. It doesn't have that same staying power, but we still want to find something new. How are we gonna go about that as a species?
We're doing a hell of a lot at the minute of trying to recapture the old stuff. And we've got ideas now of what something should sound like, what a guitar should sound like, or what this genre should sound like. And although I always think about this as music as a whole as well, new genres, how can we've pushed every envelope we can, how can we get new genres? But then you'll get some crazy electronic stuff coming out that's so off the wall, and you go, well, there's a method. Is it listenable? Maybe, but at least it's something that they've tried new. But the way that we respond to music is very much, there is a certain select amount of patterns and progresses you can progressions you can do with the music that appeal to the human ear and or your particular culture. So I think there's always going to be the need to stay within a certain box, and there may not be a need to expand too much further. We just need to do what we are doing better, and perhaps finding new parameters within that and new ways to manipulate those sounds, and that would maybe generate something new.
I don't know that we answered the question exactly, but I think we defined it pretty well.
Yeah.
Which boundaries are worth pushing? So to make something more musical rather than just finding this crazy new thing for the sake of finding it. Of course, there's always going to be that like mad scientist, just trying to get that.
If you don't try to push and get new things, we wouldn't ever go anywhere. So it's even from pushing and trying to go further, you could have that mistake that leads to something else or correcting an issue we've had before.
Right.
So it's worth pushing the boundaries, but I think when it comes to effects, we've really got what we need right now. We've got every tool to do the job we need to do. So as long as we're doing the job well and we've got the equipment, it's about making the tools better and more refined and making it easier rather than try to push for a new effect. But I'm really interested to see if anything new does come out because it will be so unexpected at this point and so new.
Well, it seems like it's going to be people like you and not people like me who find that new thing, Because like I said, for me, finding a sound that I like involves using the parameters that are assigned to the knobs that are on the top of the pedal or whatever, or the knobs within a plugin,
and not taking off the back and changing,
not soldering.
Yeah,
I actually did make a pedal from a kit.
Yeah,
it's on our channel somewhere.
I'll give that a watch.
I managed to cram the 5 hours. I sped it all up, and it's still way too goddamn long. Don't watch it. It's, it was the first time I burned myself with a soldering iron.
That's fun.
The whole 9 yards.
It's a good smell.
And and I don't even think it turned out the way that it was supposed to. But it made sound. It was a fuzz. It got fuzzy. I was extremely happy with myself, and I will never do it again. Okay, I was like, nope, I'm gonna be a musician and not a tinkerer because there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited and glad that there are people like yourself who are thinking about this kind of stuff and going at it like hard.
Yeah.
And Robert Keeley is here.
Robert Keeley is an absolute legend for what he's doing.
And it's not just that he's a technician or like technically minded. He's got a philosophy about it. He's a philosopher in how it that kind of thing works. If it wasn't for people like him, a guitar would still first of all, it would still be acoustic.
Yes.
The first electric guitars were basically piezo pickups, and they sounded like shit. And somebody was like, all right, well, let's what's next?
Yeah.
And now we've got stuff like the light wave pickup system for basses. It doesn't use magnets or piezo.
I think that's a territory more than effects that's really coming into some real cool new stuff is pickups.
Yeah.
People are doing insane things there.
Yeah, and like the Fishman Fluence is like it's not coils or it's not wire wrapped. It's like something completely different.
I yet to look into that. Everyone's been asking me to look at that, so that's something I will have to do.
People keep telling me that I need to get in on that, and I have yet to try them. But Derek from Two Notes and Riffs swears by him.
Well, I'll pick some up, and I think we'll do a science video. Feel bad about taking them to bits to try and find out how they work, but
somebody's got to do it. You know? If nobody's done it yet, it's a worthy sacrifice.
I think so.
I mean, they make them in a factory. It's not like there's an artisan crafting them from clay and you're pulling apart a piece of art.
Destroying one off piece of uniqueness.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There'll
always be another.
Yeah, so I wouldn't feel bad about it. I'd feel bad about spending money on it and then you gotta throw it away. But that's something that I would watch.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely get that done.
Yeah, so that's another frontier worth exploring, just in general. So. There are still frontiers, there are boundaries, and I guess in the next 10 to 20 years, we'll really find out what those are.
Yeah.
Especially, like I said, with this quantum computing thing or whatever. So,
I think yes. I think once we hit that point, we'll get another massive expansion of things that we didn't think we could do, but now can.
Yeah.
I think we're just at a stage where we're plateauing in our technology. and it happens all the time. So, yeah, as soon as the next big thing like quantum computing or some other really deep developmental shift in the way that we do things, comes in, that's when we'll see a growth.
Some implication of quantum computing that we haven't considered yet that will just present itself.
Yeah.
It'll be like, oh, where can the internet find you on the internet?
You can go youtube.com/CSGuitars and you can find me there.
Awesome. Well, hey, this was really fun.
Loved it.
Thanks for hanging out.
No problem.
And we are at GuitCon. Keep looking for more videos from GuitCon on our channel, on Colin's channel, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you real soon.